Hi, I'm Ken Rosenthal, and I'm a park naturalist at Gulf Branch Nature Center, and this is another 5-minute find. It's dark outside, it's raining, and are you thinking what I'm thinking? Yeah, it's a good time to go see what critters are out and about. This is perfect weather for a nighttime ramble. This is the common striped woodlouse, or fast woodlouse. It's very common in Europe, which means it's not a native species around here. They are very fun to watch, and they do typically come out at night where they're more active. This shiny black spider in the messy web is a false widow spider. They are very efficient predators on pillbugs and woodlice, and also on black widow spiders, surprisingly. They are non-native species introduced from Europe, but you will find them in and around homes. They are harmless. This is a long-bodied cellar spider. They are a non-native species found around the world, so they have a cosmopolitan distribution. They are very good at hunting and killing larger spiders than themselves as their prey. And what's really neat about this find, I'm super excited, that white mass of circles or round objects in the front is its egg mass. So this is a female carrying an egg sac. While it may not be scientifically accurate, I think it's very fair to describe slugs as snails without shells. They often come out at night because it's darker and therefore cooler. It's also typically more humid. And last but not least, it's dark, so it's hard for predators to see them. Here is a common scaly cricket wandering about on the side of our home. Here is a spider in its web, and a Gelanopsis species. They make these large webs that are like sheets. When an insect lands on the sheet of the web, the spider rushes out to immobilize it and takes it back in its food. And if you look, you'll see there's an area back here where the spider can run back into to hide if it feels like it's not safe. These guys come out a lot at night and are much more active and easier to spot in their webs than they are during the day, where they're a little more fearful and tend to spend more time, again, back in the safety of their little hiding hole. Here's a brown trig just hanging out for the evening. It's under the lip of a windowsill, so enjoying not getting spattered by the rain. Orb weavers make a new web every evening. A couple hours before they're ready to weave their new web, they pull in the old web and consume it, and then use the resources and materials of the old web that they just ate to spin their new web. So they make a new web every evening in order to catch their food. And finally, we've got some greenhouse camel crickets. They're not going to like this light, and as I'm talking, they're probably going to run away. Camel crickets as a group prefer dark spaces. They're nice and humid. Many people have basements that fit this bill quite nicely. They are wingless, so and therefore don't produce any of the sounds that we're used to hearing from crickets, and some of the sounds you can hear of the other cricket species in the background. They typically don't bite or sting. Their mouth parts are pretty weak, although a big enough one might be able to give you a pinch. They're not venomous or dangerous. These are a non-native species, and they have a direct correlation with human habitation. If you're not near a human building, dwelling, home, you're probably not going to see these guys. There was a study done where they did pit traps, and the further the pit traps were away from a home, the fewer the camel crickets they trapped. So they definitely depend on people. If we weren't here, there would not be these camel crickets. Thank you for joining me this week for this 5-minute find. I love going out in the dark and looking for stuff, which is great because as a kid I was terrified of the dark. But there's so much cool stuff to explore out here. I think we've all learned a few things this week. 1, even though it's wet and it's dark, there's still critters to be found. 2, we've got a lot of non-native species that live around our dwellings. And 3, apparently I live on a very busy and very loud street. This is Ken Rosenthal from Gulf Branch Nature Center, thanking you for joining me this week on this 5-minute find, and hoping to see you in the future at some of our in-person programs or at another 5-minute find.